All right, sounds good.
I really should change my shirt. Fuck. All right, so he's coming. Here he is.
Yo, what's up, my boy?
Hello.
What's good?
Hello. Oh, cheesy pizza.
He's in, right?
Yo, did you shave?
Yeah, Mom trimmed my hair up and everything today. Yeah.
Okay. I see you trying to give our viewers a little bit of a sexier look. I can appreciate that.
Oh, I get so goddamn fuzzy. And like once it gets out, like my hair just starts growing out of the side of my beard. Like my beard has like this ozone layer, just like hair to where it like only grows out so thick, and then it just goes like very stringy.
I'm just gonna start calling you Dr. McCoy from now on.
God damn it, Jim.
Wrong McCoy.
Yeah.
I was talking about.
I like Dr. McCoy.
No, I was talking about. I was talking about our friendly blue-furred mutant.
Yeah. And I'm talking about Dr. McCoy.
Well, technically speaking, they're both Dr. McCoy, so I get where you're going.
God damn it, Jim. Not a
wait, what? Wasn't there a comic where the X-Men fought Star Trek?
Probably. I wouldn't see why. Star Trek has plenty of overpowered shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna start streaming, so you chilling there.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm more of a Star Wars guy, but I do respect the Trekkies. You know what I mean? Like, and what gets me about it is that a lot of their shit is based on scientific theory.
Scientific theory that became true.
A lot of them, yeah.
I'm a Star Trek fan, so.
Yeah, Star Trek is all about like trying to, especially bless Gene Roddenberry. The man was just a genius of just like not only like science fiction itself, but the ideas of society progressing. Like, I totally want Gene Roddenberry universe. I'm totally fucking throw me in Starfleet, boy. Come on, that's a fucking hierarchy I can appreciate.
Bro, let's be real. You just want to listen. You just want to fuck a green skin bitch.
They weren't always green skin, sometimes purple. But Picard actually proved why Gene Roddenberry's world isn't perfect.
I'm sure Ryan would not discriminate.
No, he wouldn't. I'm sure. I'm guessing. I don't know.
God bless Chief Miles O'Brien. Go on the holodeck for 1942 with him any day.
Not me.
It's a holodeck.
Dr. McCoy, you are a
holodeck there. Why would I want to do that?
Well, we're starting to get to that AI point now.
Isaac Asimov has been my favorite author since I was like 8 years old. So
wait, did you say Asimov?
Isaac Asimov.
I misheard you.
Oh.
I heard Astaroth. The first thing that went to my mind was Soul Calibur.
I heard astronaut when you said that, and I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Astronauts?" So yeah, he was writing about AI before existence.
There he is.
I let him in. He is here. Woo! So far, they did not lie to me. So far. All right, I'm gonna let everyone get set. I'm gonna restart in the stream.
Yo, before we go live, Ryan, just want to touch base with you, bro. It's all love from me. I didn't mean to offend you this morning. You know, sometimes I take jokes a little too far. You know, so I just want to. No, I just want to get it out there before we start. Because listen, I say some shit sometimes that my mouth doesn't like let my mind cache.
He's Hispanic. They don't know how to act.
Listen,
God bless Mr. Iguana. That's all
I'll do anything for a green card.
There she goes. There she goes.
And why are you messing with me today?
Did her laptop reset on her? That's what happened when she dropped out the other day.
Think that was Hogan fucking with her.
Oh, I guess we might already be on, because I did just get a notification for our cast. So, okay, if we're on, hell, welcome to the Weed and Wrestling Podcast.
So again, brother, like I said, I don't want any misunderstandings between us. I got love for you. I got respect for you. I got respect for everybody.
Yeah. Okay, for everybody that's possibly tuning in and stuff, Guts made a comment about R-Truth in relation to Mr. Iguana, and it got blown way out of proportion by all parties except for me, which I was just like, yo, I'm not upset.
No, you know what? Sometimes things can be, especially when you're talking text, things can be misunderstood. Things can be taken out because you're not hearing the person talk. So, like I said, I'm never the one to be outright disrespectful to any of you guys. You guys have all been great and gracious, allowing me to voice my opinions. And even though sometimes I do make some dark humor jokes, I mean, like the whole Carlito being deported, which I still suspect to be true.
We're live streaming all this.
Good. Live stream it.
We kind of realized that. I kind of realized last second that we were live because I saw the notification come up and I saw the recording thing up in the top, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're definitely live already. So welcome to the Weed and Wrestling Podcast, and Lania's back. Yay!
I'm back. In black.
And I'm Lash, along with Lania, Gus, and Willie. And we're talking.
Let's get it in.
We are talking our top 5 heels in wrestling today, but also we have a special. This is a special episode. It's going to be talking crap on Hulk Hogan episode. I'm saying crap.
No,
I'm saying crap because cussing will come. The cussing will come.
This time next week, we might actually be hosting from the Hobo Box, considering Hogan might sue all of us to death.
Yeah, I was like all worried about defamation, and I'm just looking at it just like, if we can get somebody to recognize us that hard that we're actually causing some sort of defamation, that'd be great for the channel.
So we should really start sharing this on professional wrestling.
I don't see how we could be getting defamation. I don't see how we could be getting defamation. It's all stuff that's on public record and public fact.
I mean, if what is on public fact is not reprovable facts, then you get sued. Because not everything you see on the internet is true. Throwing it out there.
What do you mean it's not true?
I know, right? Such a shock.
And do you think any of these actual channels that have 1 to 2 hour long videos on Hulk Hogan's lies have gotten sued?
I'm pretty sure they do. The ones that are like,
listen, nowadays you could sue for anything. I could scratch my nut in a way that's not directed, and they're like, "Oh, you're sued. I was morally offended. I'm going to sue you."
And then they'll put you on that list for the child diddlers too, just because it was in public or something. That's the thing.
Yeah.
How many people has Hogan sued?
What are you asking?
No, Google is afraid to look that up.
I swear,
Google's afraid to look that up because she's afraid that she's gonna get sued.
She looks real free like you said, man.
Yeah. Apparently he sued.
I'm glad that you think that we have enough viewership to get noticed to be sued.
No, I don't think we got enough viewership.
That's hopeful thinking.
You guys are
so if anybody
negative.
If anybody from Hogan's fucking group is watching today, go ahead and tell them all the shit we said.
Because they're gonna watch the videos and watch back or live streams and stuff, and like, oh, they really talking shit. They really be out here talking shit.
Right on. So, yeah, first, we're going to get into our top 5 heels here. For those of you playing the home game, baby faces are the good guys, bad guys are the heels. If you're playing the home game and watching this, you probably already know that fucking term already. So, but yeah, bad guys, you can't have the good without the bad, and they make the wrestling world go round. So, who wants to start with their top 5?
You know what? I'll take this one.
I do not.
All right, so I'll take this one. So, I'm gonna get my honorable mention out first, only because I feel that this is way too obvious. He's been in the business for a long time. As far as heels go, he's probably in the Mount Rushmore of heels. And I know he's getting a lot of hate right now, especially right now after the drama that's happened with R-Truth, but I'm going to go with Triple H as an honorable mention. Okay? I don't care if you hate him now for what he's claiming that this was all staged. I don't care about that. If you look at his career, he has been an incredible heel in many facets of his career.
Yeah.
Okay? So he's my honorable mention.
He's a top heel.
Yeah.
Okay?
I
wanted to go-
that was controversial.
No, I don't think it was controversial. I just don't want to like. I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, I hate Triple H." Fine, you could hate him, but guess what? That was his job when he was being a heel for you to hate him.
Doing his job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he's my honorable mention. Up next, I actually met this gentleman personally. I actually got to do a training session with him. Very humble guy, very nice guy. I can't say enough nice things about him. But in the ring, when he performed, everybody hated him. It didn't matter who it was. And I'm talking about my man, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. We all had a price for him.
Yep.
I don't care who you were. Okay. I still remember seeing him that vignette where he had the little kid come into the ring, and if you could bounce the ball 10 times, I'll give you $100. Oops, number 9, he kicked it. He didn't make it, and he made that kid genuinely cry. Everybody hated him.
I loved him growing up.
Because, well, you're one of the few. Wait. Did he pay you to say that? Did he offer you? Did he buy you?
I wouldn't be sitting here with you, gentlemen, right now, but okay.
No, but you know what? Seriously, Ted DiBiase, such an amazing heel. No matter which walk of life you were from, you hated him because, on screen he had the money and he could buy you. Now, number 2, he's not actually a wrestler. About him. Go ahead.
The thing I love about him is that his whole character is based off of Vince McMahon's interpretation of the IRS. Him and IRS were the combination of all the legal troubles and stuff that he was going through with the government and shit. So
exactly.
Vince McMahon's was supposed to be Ted DiBiase, and IRS is supposed to be IRS.
Exactly. So up next on my list, this one, all right. So this one, he never wrestled, as far as I know, but he did share, and he continues to share on-screen time with some of the greatest heels. All right, when you talk about heel work, when you talk about total heel work, like bad guy stuff, you cannot leave Paul Heyman out of this conversation. This man is such a psychological, demonically evil person. Like, he will break you down to the point where, like, oh my God, you're actually right. I don't have the tools to beat Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar or CM Punk. And on top of that, he has managed some of the greatest athletes. Most of them, I think, except for maybe Heidenreich, most of them have gone on to greater things and become champions. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Up next, this one I'm putting up there because there was an incident that happened in real life that trickled into wrestling that made him the hottest heel at that time, and I'm going to give that to Edge. Edge and that whole thing where he stole Lita from Matt.
What
That
the hell, though?
yo,
That was
it
real
doesn't
life.
matter. It made
That
that
was real
heel
life.
turn that much more authentic. Actually, it was authentic because let's face it, I'm sure Matt and was stiff with Edge in the ring.
Yeah.
Let's not.
Yeah.
Come on, you stole my girl. I'm gonna punch that ticket. So Edge,
And the sex in the middle of the ring. Can't forget that
was
spot.
horrendous.
yeah, you know
horrendous.
that was a little overboard for even for me, but yeah, you can include that. Next, this heel didn't last too long in WWE. He came at a time that was very controversial. 9/11 just happened, I think, like a year before or 2 years before, and they actually got rid of him because of an event that happened in England that was very similar to a stunt they pulled in an arena. And I'm going to give that to Muhammad Hassan. He was one of the top heels at the time. Everybody hated him. But what I loved about it is that he didn't play it as the heel. He played it as I'm an American. I am, I am just in my thoughts. I am just in my beliefs. I am just here to be the best American I can be. And everybody just hated him. Everybody like loathed him. And WWE, they got threats. They're like, listen, we're gonna take you off the air if you don't get rid of this guy. So unfortunately, Muhammad Hassan had to go. And for my final pick, I have to go with a classic. This man is a legendary heel. He's faced the likes of Hogan, Bob Backlund, Jerry Springer, and I'm gonna give that to the Iron Sheik.
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
The Iron Sheik is such an amazing heel, no matter which way. Yeah. No matter which way you cut it, he was an amazing heel. Even on Jerry Springer, bro. I know that was a wrestling work, but yo, he was amazing. And you know what? And shout out to Jerry Springer for being an instigator. I love that fucker.
You can suck all the dicks. Go down dick to dick to dick.
He's fucking great.
So that's my top 5 with my honorable mention to Triple H. And shout out to Jerry.
Ooh.
Oh. Fuck you. I do it.
So which one of us are going next with the list?
Go ahead, Mrs. Hogan.
But me.
Yeah.
Mr. Minority here.
How's it feel?
Yeah. I went to Job Corps. I know exactly how it feels. So for I also wanted to name my honorable mentions first to Paul Heyman. Because I went with wrestlers. I was going to put him on the list, and then I was like, I just kind of want to keep it wrestlers. But he's definitely the most heel manager of all time. Him and Bobby the Brain Heenan are just like neck and neck for greatest heel managers of all time.
Agreed.
But also the honorable mention goes right along with him, Brock Lesnar. Which that last run he had with Cody last year was so good. It was so good. I loved it. And Brock is just a beast, and he's kind of a piece of shit in real life by the sounds of it too, or he likes it. Anyways, number 5. I got Roddy Piper. Piper's Pit. I mean, he revolutionized talking shit, especially when it came to being a heel. He made his own show, about it, and could bring his own opponents on and just psych them out and just get into their headspace and stuff. But he was just an incredible bad guy. He was the lead in the very first WrestleMania as the main event, as being the bad guy in the main event. So even when he was a babyface, he was just still so crazy that he was still basically kind of a heel, just talking. But I love Roddy Piper. I loved him as the Maniac, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as well. Just he's incredible. Incredible athlete too. Number 4, Randy Orton. I went with Randy because I mean the whole Legend Killer stuff right there. That was some of the best wrestling that had gone on in a long time, and that whole run of his actually made me pay attention a little bit, because I remember seeing, I had kind of stopped regularly watching, and then I had heard he was going after Mick Foley, and I was like, not my Mick. Who is this guy? So Randy's great there. My number 3, I went with Scott Hall, the bad guy himself. Scott Hall, Razor Ramon. He was so good as Razor Ramon. When he was a bad guy as that, just all the stuff that he did with that gimmick. But then he started the NWO. The NWO was his brainchild, that went on to be the biggest heel faction pretty much of all time. And he was a part of a lot of big moments, even though he was a world champion. It's because of him and Nash that the Goldberg streak ended. He pulled off a lot of dastardly things throughout his time. And he was just so he was so good on the mic while doing it. Just, hey,
Yo, he was believable too, bro. Not for nothing. I honestly thought when I was a kid, and this is just me being stupid at that age, I actually thought he was Cuban.
We all thought he was Cuban until we were adults.
We all did. We didn't know no better.
You know what?
We didn't know no better.
I said it a few weeks ago. I'm surprised they did not sue Vince, whoever made Scarface, because you really thought he was Tony Montana. That's how good he played that role.
No, what's crazy though, his character wasn't really based on Tony Montana. I forget the character, but really? if you go back, he was based more on the guy that Robert De Niro played in Cape Fear.
Really? Yeah, I might have to check that out. I always thought it was Scarface.
Yeah.
I'm sure they took some elements from Scarface, but he was more based on the guy from Cape Fear.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of a combination of both of those. But yeah, but then even as Scott Hall, he was just the Outsiders. Just everything that they did for those first 2 years as the NWO is legendary. So Scott Hall, he's just amazing. My number 2 is Ric Flair. He kind of set the archetype in a lot of ways for what a lot of wrestlers have come to do. Ric Flair kind of set the standard there for being the rich asshole.
You're not lying.
And he had just incredible way on the mic, and the story between him and Dusty, that especially in the golden eras of it, just the most important. It's one of the most important storylines in all of wrestling history. And he kept it up too. Rick always kept it up. There was never really a time that you could say Rick was a traditional babyface. Even when he was fighting the NWO, he was still kind of cruddy.
I mean, Ric Flair definitely created his own thing.
Yeah.
And he was Ric Flair throughout his whole,
He's 100% his own character. And there's been nobody like him quite since. And my number one pick is Vince McMahon.
Okay.
He really is the greatest heel in all of wrestling.
I've had to
he
redo my
is.
list every time someone talked.
The man went out of his way to make his entire company and make all the stars of the company hate him, and you hated him, and he did all this weird fucked up shit, and tons of it. It wasn't just a little bit of some weird wild stuff. I mean, making Trish Stratus strip, that's one of them.
Dude, that's tame compared to some of the shit that he's done. Dude, he was on that go big or go home.
Like when he was going around dropping the N-bomb casually and wearing a do-rag, an ECW champion. Yeah. I even watched that earlier. Booker T just did he really say that? I'm just like, and it's me, Austin. That's, even though it's great and shitty at the same time. It's one of those awkward moments of great shittiness, to where it's a legendary moment, but not because of that particular moment. But also, obviously the bad guy stuff carried over into real life. As we can see with poor Janelle Grant there, what's going on with that?
Before the McMahon character, he was getting people off for murder, so I just think that's kind of who he is.
Helping Jimmy Snuka get off of murder charges, other wrestlers like that. Yeah, it carried over. So it's like, he really is the worst man in all of wrestling.
I agree.
That's my list.
That was a good list.
I have my list, which I actually adjusted while you guys were talking because you stole a lot of mine. But I was like, I want everything to be fresh. But I also had a list of like 23 things, so it's okay. So my first one is actually Jim Cornette. He doesn't get credit that he should get for the heel he is in and outside the ring, and he has been inside the ring in the 80s, and like wrestling Paul Heyman and other wrestlers. Like, he's been in there, but his heel character is amazing.
And it carries on. He carries on. I mean, Jim Cornette is like kind of our biggest inspiration, and want to even get in a podcast because me and her met on Facebook, and we one of the first things that we talked about, I think I sent you a link of something I was talking about with Jim Cornette. You were like, I fucking watched that.
Yeah, no,
and it was up there.
Is a heel, and it's great because he's so smart about the business, and everything he does helps the business along. Whether he's playing a heel role or a face role or a manager role or just Jim Cornette being nosy role, whatever he does is helping the business along and helping people along, which is great to me. So he's number one. Number two was JBL. JBL is a horrible person. His heel is, I think, who he is.
You mean that one? I know.
So he has to be on this list because not only is he a heel, he's a horrible person, and I think that deserves to be on here. I don't have to say some of the shit he's done. In and out of the ring, he is lethal. He can be if he wants to. He's a very strong wrestler. He was a focal point for a long time for us in the Attitude Era, but we didn't know how fucked up he was yet. We had to wait for that. But he's on here because I'm not going to mention shit he did. My next one was going to be Vince McMahon, but I changed to Andre the Giant. Because Andre the Giant, during his time, he's one of the best heels. Because he used to get drunk, he'd be like, y'all can't beat me. And they couldn't beat him. Like, so.
Mr. I'm drunk and you can't beat me.
No, didn't he have, I forgot who he had a match against. He was being an asshole, and he just farted in his face, and the guy couldn't breathe.
It was like a 4-minute fart on a plane you're talking about, where they had to like land the plane. Because
No. I didn't even know about that. No, this was in the ring. I think it was against Jake the Snake Roberts, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, he was
he farted in Jake's face.
Yeah.
Like he was heinous and it was
right.
gross. That's why I'm choosing him, because he just used to get wasted and say the craziest shit. I watched some reels of him earlier, actually, as I was going through the stuff for the second topic. I was like, damn, he was savage as fuck without cursing, with a little French accent. It was cute.
When you could understand them.
Yeah, I mean, again, people couldn't beat him, so.
Yeah, fuck you, Hogan.
And my next one is Roman Reigns, because he's played the heel very well. I think his time has been over, but he plays the heel very well. No matter what team they're focusing him on or how they do the heel turn, whether the Shield or the Bloodline, he does heel turn very well. He has a very serious face, looks like this all the time. Anyway, so that works with the heel turn, and I just think his personality feeds very well into heels and that character. Him as a face, I don't get it. I don't get it when he's a face. But I love him as a heel. And my last one was Stone Cold Steve Austin, because 316 means I just whipped your ass. That he created the Attitude Era for us. I just couldn't leave him out. That was the heel for us for a while. So
yeah,
I mean,
he was the heel we cheered.
Yeah, I mean, the first heel, well, not the first heel we cheered, but I really feel like we cheered for him the loudest throughout the Attitude Era, and like cumulative out of all heels. Like, we really want Stone Cold to win. We really want him to do the best. We really want him to spray like everybody with beer. We really didn't want him to turn for the corporation. We're really mad about that. Like he signified so much to me. He signifies so much. I think our generation in general, that's why he deserves to be.
Well, I think he worked so well because he was doing things that we wanted to do ourselves. Like, who wouldn't want to beat the shit out of their boss? You know what I mean? So I think the fact that he touched the very life force of the people. That's what makes him a great heel, I think.
I mean, I listen to punk rock, and during that time, like giving the band the finger was like saying like you're great and stuff like that. So it just kind of fed into the whole finger thing. It carried on in my life, Like, and I just thought it was great that I just all through my life it was okay to give people a finger. Kind of fucked me up in adulthood because I'm not a nice person, but it was worth it.
One of my favorite things of Stone Cold is when he was asked, you get shown saying a lot on your way down to the ring. What are you saying? Oh, I'm saying absolute bullshit. I'm saying literally anything that comes to my head. Anything that'll come into my head. I'll talk about dogs a lot. That I'm gonna beat somebody like a dog, maybe. But most of the time I'm just saying bitch.
Yeah, I mean, he was great. He was great for the time, and he really just did what he wanted, and that was awesome because we all want to do what we wanted. I still want to do what I want.
No, you remember that? Promo with him and Brian Pillman when he went to Brian Pillman's house? And they thought it was real. They thought it was real. And Vince got sued.
Yeah. Fucking cops got called.
It was great though. That's just great. Actually, I wanted to say Brian Pillman, but when I really thought about it, he didn't have enough longevity to me to like really feel out his heel, and I didn't like him that much in WCW. First, you had the Flying Brian, and then very short-lived Pillman. So.
Oh my god.
Another heel moment for Vince is putting Brian Pillman's wife onto an interview day after he died.
Oh God,
that was horrible. That was real life fucked up.
I told you,
face.
He's the worst man in all of wrestling.
Oh no, man! Vince is another different level, man. Oh man.
Yeah. He gave us all this shit. He gave us this whole thing to talk about, but at the same time, he's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, and I'm sure many people felt it then, but people are like, Vince McMahon is so awesome. No, he was always a piece of shit. We just liked him because he was a piece of shit, because we were also a piece of shit ourselves. But
oh my god! All right. So I guess it's on me now. Okay.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. So I got an honorable mention. I know they a tag team, but they technically the same person. I'm gonna say the Dudley Boys. I
Fuck yeah.
remember that during the Attitude Era when they used to put people in garbage cans and roll them down the ring, and they used to throw people off the top of the stage.
Yeah.
They used to put old women through the table.
Yeah,
You know,
Bubba Ray powerbomb Mae Young
yeah,
through a
right through
fucking
that table.
table. And
Yeah.
he said it was the most nervous he's ever been in wrestling. And he was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she's like, "Plow me through there."
And to me, they
No, the fact that Mae Young, after that incident, she pulls him, she turns him around, she's like, "Listen, next time you put me through a fucking table." He's like, "Yes, ma'am."
No, you remember when they put Mankind and Terry Funk in the garbage
Yeah.
dumpster and threw him off the
That
stage.
was the New Age Outlaws. I think.
No, that was the Age
That was-
Outlaws, but I think they
Yeah.
did it to someone. I thought it was real funny.
I think they did something similar, but that was
Yeah.
New Age Outlaws that did it
Yeah,
to Cactus Jack and Terry Funk.
Yeah. Number 5, I'm gonna go with the Giant. I just thought, how NWO was using him to do all the dirty work. Him bringing Macho Man to the ring and throwing him off the top of the ring and top rope. And I remember his when he joined WWF, right? That infamous moment in St. Valentine's Day Massacre when Vince was fighting Stone Cold and he jumped out the ring and threw Stone Cold through like the other side of the cage, and Stone Cold won the match because he got outside because he broke the cage. That's how he threw Stone Cold with so much force. Like he threw him like it was a pack of potatoes, just threw him and opened the cage and he came in. That's number 5. Here's a sleeper that I think I'm surprised nobody mentioned. How about Bret Hart?
I want to, but
Bret Hart to me was he was a great villain. You know what I'm saying? When he made complaining at work cool because every time he complained way too much. And I thought the Canada versus USA moment, I thought that was like pretty good. That was a good storyline. I remember when he was in WCW, how he turned against Kevin Nash and Hogan won the title. So, we cannot forget him as a heel. He played the heel character real good.
I'm telling you, Brett did come to mind, but like I said, my list, I just base it on like, like with Brett, the thing is, it was unexpected, just like it was with Hogan.
Yeah.
And the fact that he had the backing of his actual family and that whole Montreal screw job elevated his heel turn.
Right.
You know what I mean? Absolutely. So I did think about that. He was in my like top 10 of heels, but I didn't go with him. But I'm glad that you did.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Number three, I'm gonna say Hogan. I mean, I just him being the leader of the NWO, doing all this dirty work.
Well, which one? Which Hogan? Hollywood Hogan?
NWO Hogan. Hollywood Hogan.
Okay. Yeah. He's on my list too. 23 people.
Yeah. So again, him being the leader of the NWO, I remember that promo where he sprayed Ric Flair in his face with spray, black spray in his face. So I thought that was pretty iconic, and just them beating up everybody that wasn't you. It's like you was with us or you against us, And Hogan just led the pack. I remember when he turned against his best friend, Beefcake, at what was that pay-per-view when he hit him with the belt? Was it Slamboree? When he hit him with the belt or whatever?
I know what you're talking about.
Huh?
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember which one.
It was Flamboree or I think it was Hog Wild. And I guess him and Kevin Nash was talking, and next thing you know, he got the belt. Kevin Nash started holding Beefcake, and the next thing you know, Hogan beat him with the belt. So that to me was like an infamous moment. Number 2, I got Scott Hall, the bad guy. Can't go wrong with that. But number 1, you can't go wrong. You can't have Hit while not having Triple H on your list. I mean, the way he's doing right now, I mean, to me, I think he's still playing the Hill character. We know what's going on with WWE right now. He's not in character, and he still plays that Hill role pretty good. So that's my top 5.
Awesome.
All right. Well, top 5 heels there. I guess what Scott Hall was on both mine and yours lists.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we didn't have a lot of like crossover and repeats on our list. Very diverse list, everybody. But you know, it was great that you brought up number 3 on your list there, Mr. Terry Bollea.
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
I hear his lawyers dialing numbers.
That's why I made sure to use that good old legal name, Terry Bollea. If you guys have followed the channel at all, it's been going on here to where Lanaya had brought up how she doesn't like Hogan, and then Gus and Will went on just tangents of any time, just bringing up how much she hates Hogan to the point that I was like, I think you guys hate him more than her, and we need to settle it with Hogan night.
Listen, not to cut you off, right? I'm gonna say this, right? If you think, I'm an 80s baby, right? But I don't really remember that. But we have to give where credit is due, right? Hogan was up there, right? If you think about the 80s, right? You had Stallone, you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, you had Michael J. Fox, Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson. I'm not saying he was with them, but Hogan was always talked about. You know what I'm saying? He was, when you think of wrestling, he's that person. When you go to basketball, you think of Michael Jordan. That's something you cannot take away from him. As being that face. Everybody has an outside story. That's good. But we cannot take that away from that man. What he did for wrestling. Do I agree with some of his tactics? Absolutely not. But I remember when I first got on this podcast where everybody was saying, well, Hogan was the reason why WC demise. I think he was a percentage. Again, he was. No, I didn't know. Wait. He went by what his contract said. We continue to fault the man for his lawyers. His lawyers negotiated a great contract. So we gonna continue to hold him accountable for that. We got to stop doing that.
That's a combination of.
He used the leverage that was in his contract. He used the leverage that was in his contract, and that's point blank and simple. He used the leverage in his contract. Hogan could put people in the seat. Ted Turner did what he had to do. He did what he had to do to get him on. Now he was on Baywatch. He had done it in Paradise. I get it. But Hogan during that time, early 90s, even the early 2000s, was a big name. We saw what happened with Rock and Hogan. They almost turned against The Rock and went for Hogan. That man was the Michael Jordan when it came to wrestling. And we gotta give him respect for that. I don't like the person, obviously, but I'm not gonna sit here and be biased and Hogan never done nothing good for the sport.
Oh yeah. And
no,
his praises have been
if you think about it,
his praises have been sung for sure.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this, and you can disagree with me all you want.
Yeah.
Piggybacking on what you're saying, well, if it wasn't for Hogan's involvement in wrestling at the time of what Vince was trying to build, wrestling would not be around the way it is today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He was, like you said, he was the Michael Jordan. He was the Babe Ruth. He was the when you saw wrestling back in the 80s, he was it.
Right.
He helped build it.
American.
You know what I mean? So I do agree with you. He's not the greatest person in the world. I've never met him personally, but some of the stuff that he's done in the media, some of the scandals that he's been involved with, yeah, maybe I don't want to meet him.
You don't want to meet me, so I don't got worried about that.
Yeah, but listen, every wrestler has a tragic story. You know what I'm saying? Stone Cold did some grimy stuff. Everybody still praise Austin. You know what I'm saying? Rock does some grimy stuff. People praise The Rock. So we got to stop holding Hogan accountable. Oh, he's the only wrestler that done jacked up stuff. It's a list of them. Hogan is just on the top of the list because he's everything where everybody did.
Hogan was lying about everything for decades. He keeps himself on the top of the list because he won't shut the fuck up.
Yeah, that's pretty much what this whole thing is compromised. It's compromised of things that he has said and done that he knowingly did and he knowingly said, and he still lied about it. You know, and we can sing his praises for what he did for the business. And guess what? We just did that. Now it's time to talk about all the fucked up shit he's done. Because boy, oh boy, he has lists.
That's the thing in itself, okay? Like,
Work. I gotta go to work tonight, bro. So we can't spend all night on Hogan.
Yeah. I've been watching stuff for the last day or so here, just kind of compiling some of the stuff here. He does have just a lot. And also surprising amount of defenders on his side for certain things. One of my biggest things, and I was just watching Bret talk about it earlier today, how Hogan screwed over Bret Hart at WrestleMania 9 for the title. They had the whole contest go on with Yokozuna, and then he comes out and pins Bret and gets it, and he tells him, "Oh, I'll return the favor. I'll be happy to return the favor." Well, this comes to King of the Ring. And at that show, it was originally supposed to be set up that Bret was going to go over on Hogan. He was going to make him submit in the middle of the ring. That was the original plan that him and Vince had. And he's like, okay, sounds good. And Vince is like, there's a problem. I haven't told Hogan yet. And then he told Hogan, and he gets told that he's not in the same league as him, that he's an underrated, that he's an overrated wrestler, and that he wouldn't do this job for him. And so what did he end up getting was Yokozuna, that he would drop it to him, and then Bret would have to come back and get it. And instead, the match got put up with him and Lawler. Bret Hart versus Jerry Lawler. All because Hogan didn't want to do it.
All right, so it kind of seemed like, and by the way, I'm gonna say this again. I'm not a Hogan fan, but I'm gonna look at it from both sides. Where was Vince in all this at? People allowed to do things. Who was Vince at in all this? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. There we go. Vince allowed him to do all this stuff, so why are we not holding Vince accountable?
Oh yeah.
You gave an example, which was a great example, and Vince allowed him to do that. And let's call what it is. I'm seeing Bret Hart all day. Hogan is in terms of the United States, he's bigger than Bret Hart. But let's call what it is. He is a bigger name than Bret Hart.
It's one thing to change
Vince is all about money. He's all about money. We all know that.
We're talking about a change on the day of. We're talking about a change on the day of.
I understand that, but was that Vince or was that Hogan?
Probably the combination of both of them.
There you go.
Yeah.
Vince could have stopped it. Why Vince didn't stop it?
We ain't shit.
Thank you.
Did we just talk about this?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Listen,
Vince
was protecting his investment. That's what he was doing. Vince didn't want to piss off his golden egg and Hogan, so he just let it slide. Because honestly, if he's the boss, he should be able to say, Hogan, you're dropping it, no questions asked.
Right.
And if you don't like it, the door is that way. Good luck.
Right.
That's what he was doing. He was protecting his golden goose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. And that doesn't make it. That doesn't make the decision. And the fact that he also went off to say that he's not in the same league as him. You know,
we all know that Bret can out wrestle Hogan any day of the week. Dude, any day of the week, blindfolded in a paper bag.
Hogan
has Bret beat on the mic. I'll give him that. That's it. But in terms of wrestling, Bret Hart hands down. You can't even mention him in the same breath.
I don't know about that. See, because Here's the thing, brother. Hogan comes from an era where your promos are all screaming. Okay,
Yeah.
everybody, what you gonna do? What you gonna? The Pythons! Ah! That's what Hogan's promos were. Brett was a little more psychological, more thought out. Maybe at the time it was different, but if you look at it, I say Brett is a much more calculated talker.
Yeah.
He's more meticulous in what he says, also.
I can't name one Bret Hart time he was on the mic and I remember it. Like, let's call it what it is. That's legendary.
All this to say, our topic for tonight is the second golden age and the wrestlers we love or hate, like we're talking about.
Oh, I thought that we were doing that Tuesday because didn't research it.
Tuesday.
Yeah, we're doing that Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I understood. It gives us more time to research.
Put on the chat, Lanaya.
Yeah, this was fuck Hogan night. Lanaya.
You're so busy hating Hogan that you didn't pay attention to the conversation we were having.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No.
And I just brought up one thing, and that's really a minor thing. It can get to the fact that he tried to say that he saw Kerry Von Erich 72 hours before he committed suicide. Yeah, that's a lie that he tried to put on for years. And that
I
one,
found it weird that I found it weird that they cut that out from the Iron Claw movie.
Yeah, right.
I mean, we didn't though.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not no fan of Hogan. I mean, I think the man is showing his colors, his true colors, and I mean, it's just disrespectful at all, man.
I have my list of Hogan's lies pulled up.
Listen. I think anybody that associates themselves with Hogan and it has something to do with something physical should just not bring him out to the ring, because that guy Covington, every time he plays I'm a Real American, Hogan walks out with him, he gets his ass kicked, you know, and that's just adding more fuel to the fire. That's just my opinion.
So what's your fuck Hogan list?
Dude, I don't think we have enough time to cover that.
No, it's like
we need like a whole 24 hours, man.
I wanted to discuss how he's
the list is long and distinguished.
Interview multiple times, and he never did that. First of all, he didn't want to be in WWF, and he tried to bury him in WCW when it came to NWO. So, how come Hogan thinks it's okay to go on interviews and say that when we all saw him trying to bury him in NWO? I tried to get him to go to WWF. When? Were you trying to bury him?
Bury who?
Sting.
I don't think he tried to bury Sting.
NWO? Yes, the fuck he did.
How you trying to bury Sting when he put Sting over, Lanaya?
No, he really didn't want him in there. He was thinking about how he was so difficult.
If he put Sting over, how did he bury him? He put him over twice.
Do you know about the Halloween Havoc catastrophe?
I'm not talking Halloween. Yeah, that was the joke. But I think he lost to Sting at Starrcade and Super Brawl. But that thing with Ultimate Warrior, that was a travesty. I'm glad they paid $20 for that. No, I'm gonna say my mother.
No, I'm not talking about Ultimate Warrior. I'm talking about Sting and Hogan, their first thing at Halloween Havoc. That was the first one that Sting came back. There was I thought it was the Halloween Havoc.
I thought it was Starrcade when Bret Hart was the enforcer.
No, not that match. The very first one.
That's the one I'm talking about that he put him over.
No, yeah, that one happened like 7-8 months later. The Halloween Havoc one is where Hogan pulled his shit again and changed the fucking ending at the last minute.
In the contract, he can veto the ending of that match.
But here we go. If he's just following his contract, so
that doesn't justify it. That doesn't.
You know what? No, but it doesn't justify it. But Hogan's not wrong for pursuing what is written in his contract.
He had to put in, and Russo is the one.
If he's creatively making the choice, if he's creatively making the choice, who the fuck else are you going to blame but him?
He said, "I want this."
Like, who else are you blaming? If something fucks up and his name is signed on it, you're trying to say that he's not on the bill? The fuck? He signed the contract. The same creative control that you're saying, but he's just doing what he's
You're coming across like Hogan never lost a match. Hogan put people over. He put over Lex Luger. He put over Sting. He put over the Rock. So you can't sit there and say
listen, here. Listen, Hogan put over people when it was convenient for him. Okay? The thing is, I'm not arguing the fact that he had great lawyers who they worked out that contract where they gave him complete creative control.
Right.
Okay. The problem is that he was all about me instead of putting some of the shine on the newer guys or the guys that were around him so that they could elevate the business. Because if he had done just like 10% of putting the light on other talent, WCW might have lasted a little longer.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that he's completely to blame, but he didn't help the situation either.
Bash at the Beach 2000.
That's when it started to go downhill.
Bash at the Beach 2000. When again, Russo and him got into it. Jeff Jarrett lays down in the fucking ring. He chews out fucking Russo, saying this is why this company's going down the toilet, and then still went through with it anyway. And they only put over Booker T because he has a thing for Booker T. That's one of the few black people that he actually likes.
Oh, Hogan?
Yeah.
I thought that was Vince Russo that put him over, not Hogan.
I think it's more Vince Russo, but Hogan had to give the final word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Vince and Booker T lost to Jeff Jarrett. No, he beat Jeff Jarrett for the title.
But then a whole big lawsuit came out of that too, and more just bullshit mockery,
something like that.
Yeah.
Well, like I said,
here's a moment that most of you might not remember. Richard Belzer, who had a talk show back in the 80s there, back just 2-3 days before WrestleMania 1. He had Hogan and Mr. T on, and Hogan went to show him a move, and he was like, well, I don't want to slam you. This floor's hard.
I remember
and he put him in a headlock, and Richard Belzer passes out in the headlock, and Hogan just drops him, and he busts his head and cracks his head on the fucking floor. Didn't say sorry. He goes up and slaps him in the fucking face to wake him up. Which Richard Belzer did sue him for that, and they settled for like $400,000 out of court.
right.
Then the whole steroid scandal. You know, just lie after lie on that.
Black eye on the sport, yeah. That was
Lie
black
after
eye on
lie
the
on
sport.
Arsenio Hall show going on there, saying I've only ever taken steroids 3 times, and it was medically overseas. Let me tell you something, brother. Fucking just going off and bullshitting the whole fucking interview, and then goes off and admits in court that he was taking steroids and getting them from the doctor, and puts that doctor away for like 3 fucking years.
No,
he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go to the big house, bro. He was throwing people under the bus left and right.
Yeah, he got immunity. That's why he testified, because he had immunity. Really the main and it's not even necessarily a lie, just fucked up situation. Bubba loves Sponge's wife.
Oh.
Oh.
God.
Oh. Some interesting facts about this is that Gawker were the ones that ended up getting these tapes. The first one was about Brooke, and he says on there, Brooke lost her record deal because she was probably fucking the son of the record company owner. And he was talking shit on Stax, her former boyfriend. He goes off to say, guess we're all a little racist. Then he goes off and says, if she's going to go after a black guy, I wish he was like 8 foot tall and an NBA player. Have that bring some money into the family.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, the other sex tape of it gets released, where he talks about going to his childhood home and finding a homosexual man living there and begins to berate him.
Yeah, he's
Yep. And then comes out with what Dr. Richard Brashaw, I think I forgot his Bradshaw or something like that. He's on the Young Turks, but I had just watched his video of him reading the apology statement. and he was like, this is the worst racism apology statement I've ever read.
Are you talking about Dr. Ritchie?
Yes. Yeah. He brought up Shelton Benjamin, the tweets and MVP's tweets and everything. He had like a whole little 15-minute segment on it. Yeah. And funny thing is he got defense from The Rock and George Foreman. Came to his aid, like press-wise, on that, and then years later, Booker T defends him even saying it. Defends him even saying it in the first place. That he said, I didn't write down the quote because he was saying it pretty fast, but he was just like, we all get into certain points at times if you got to look at it, because I just had the man on my show last week. All right? I don't think he'd be racist if he just come on my show like that. We've been friends for years. Just because you're friends, he's not racist.
Yeah.
I think Booker T was coming to Hogan's defense because he was trying to cover up for the N-bomb he dropped on live TV.
Hogan, we coming for you, Hogan.
Booker T walks the line. He doesn't want to make anybody angry, so he always walks the line. You know.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of, you just mentioned George Foreman. Hogan said he got the first George Foreman grill ever, and then when George Foreman was asked, he was like, "I'm talking." Yeah, that was another one.
He has two stories. He has two stories. The first story is that they called him for the offer, but he was dropping off his kids at school. And then when he came back, he called the agent, who was also the agent of George Foreman, and he was like, "Yeah, I gave the grill to this guy, but you can take the shake." So there might be a slight modicum of truth to it in that fact of that they did have the same agents. But he did not get offered the George Foreman grill at all. In fact, the grill got put up originally for George Foreman, and George Foreman hadn't looked at the offer for like 4 or 5 months. And then finally he looked at the offer and was like, sure, $300 million later.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Hogan actually got that deal? We'd be like, with Hulk Hogan grills? Like, are you serious?
Well,
could you picture the infomercials at 2 in the morning?
He did have a Hulk Hogan grill, and it got recalled because of fire hazards. He had a Hulk Hogan shit, and there was a Hulk Hogan grill that he was selling in '92 right before he went to WCW, and it got recalled for fucking fire hazards.
But you know what? in terms of like marketing, right? Because you see how they got all the advertisement on the rings. Kind of see where I'm going with this, right? So you remember how Stone Cold he had this podcast on when they had the WWE network, and what was he doing? He was drinking his beer, right?
Yeah.
So that was actually promotion for his brand.
Yeah.
Hogan, everybody know Hogan does not like Stone Cold. Guess what he did? Spoke to whoever he had to speak to. Guess what? He got American beer right on the mat. Every week is on the mat. Every show is on the mat. So he is a shady guy, but he's very smart with it.
I got this shit the other day. My friend just gave me.
Got one up on Stone Cold.
It's Hulk Hogan's Thunder Mixer. Do you guys?
Yeah. That's the deal. That's the fucking thing that he says that he got instead of the George Foreman grill. When really that's the deal that he got. He never got offered the George Foreman grill. That's that exact fucking thing. That's amazing.
I just thought my friend gave this to me the other day. I was like, "Do you want this?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Take it." I was like,
I'm just picturing these deals that Hogan's are getting. Like, could you imagine some of the other products? Like, remember the slap chop or the shake weight? Oh, that dude, you know how much money he would have been banking off of that?
Well, I don't know. See, but by that time they didn't use wrestlers and stuff. But he would have tried.
Well, that's one
brother,
thing that when it comes to him making money.
Shake weight.
When it comes to him making money, so with the whole sex tape stuff, Hogan sued Gawker, and he got 115. He got 115 million out of them, and another 30 million out of them after they went bankrupt. He fucking took them for all they were worth.
Literally.
Hogan.
Yep.
His lawyers, yo.
Another big controversy, and this one was actually spoken about by other wrestlers, is the fact that Hogan introduced Randy Savage's Hall of Fame ceremony. The reason being is that Randy Savage included, along with a lot of other wrestlers, say that they were acquaintances at best. They had actually had physical altercations before in the past. And there was at one point where Randy had challenged a big charity match pay-per-view event to where all the donations, all the money would go to different organizations, and that he wanted to really fight him. That he didn't want to wrestle. That's what he said. I don't want to just fight him. I want to really fight him. I don't want to wrestle.
Well, I mean, dude, you know what? All right, so Hogan presented the Hall of Fame to Savage or his family, but if you think about it, right, you really can't talk about Hogan without talking about Randy Savage. They're like opposite sides of the same coin, bro. It was like when you talk about, if you're talking about the 80s Mount Rushmore of wrestling, you got to put on Hogan and you got to put on Macho Man. There's no question. Dude, they were the mega powers. Okay?
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It makes sense visually.
I understand it makes sense, but even his own brother was like, I didn't want him to present it.
No, you know what? I think it would have made better sense. And I think it would have been more respectful if you got Ricky Steamboat to do the presentation, because that performance they had at WrestleMania 3, magic.
Yeah, greatest match of all time. Another quick Hogan lie. He says that he partied with John Belushi after WrestleMania 3 in 1986. John Belushi died in 1982.
I have that right here. That's my classic one. And also, he fought with the Pride.
Nah, bro. No, listen. Hogan was not lying about that. Hogan was not lying about that. What happened was they were in the midst of filming Ghostbusters, and they happened to bring the ghost of Jim Belushi back, and he hung out with Hogan for a few hours, knocked back a few beers. He actually tried to get Hogan a cameo on Ghostbusters, but that didn't work out.
Hogan is just, oh God.
See, he's taking inspiration from Hogan. He's taking inspiration from Hogan, which I figured out the formula of it. It's take a sliver of truth, take something that has a sliver of truth to it, and expand, and just make it completely unbelievable. Like how he claimed that Andre the Giant, that he was the first and only man to have given him a body slam, and that he died 3 days later. He was even filmed on MTV Cribs holding the boots that he had there. These are the boots that I had 3 days before Andre died, and I body slammed him, man. I will never lose these boots.
9 days, days keep changing.
Andre died 4 years later.
Yes. The way he lies, like again, and he said that he fought with the prize fighters in the 70s. They weren't around in 97. Like he just literally makes shit up. What do you say about Japan is somewhere on here.
That he wrestled 400 days in a year. Because of the time zone gap. Because he would wrestle in Japan and between Japan and America so much that he would gain a day.
He said the time difference, he added it up and made it possible. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Literally cool.
Yeah. That he wrestled 400 days in 1 year.
Listen, I suck at math, so maybe it's true. So, some mathematical equation, again, unless it's addition, like I work 8 hours, I expect this much in my paycheck, and then I subtract it with my bills. That's the only math that really matters to me. Other than that,
right?
It's possible. It's possible. He could have gained an extra day or two flying between Japan and the U.S. He could have.
But we're on different planets when this happened. Is the extra time behind us? Is it in the room with us now? Because for those who don't know, there's only 365 days in a year. I don't know who might not know that. Since America's not fucked up. But 365 days in a year. You can't just get 400 at 365. And different countries don't have.
Tell that to Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
I mean, I don't think Michael J. Fox is ever going back to the future again, so I don't think we have to talk to him about it.
Michael J. Fox is supposed to be on the show on Apple TV. Like he's coming back to acting.
I know. He's still not gonna go back to the future.
I'm trying to. Yeah, I was just had. One of my favorite Hogan moments that doesn't really that involves him, but he's a victim of his backstage politicking. Is him and Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam in 2005.
When Michaels was overselling?
Yes. And then I had just watched the Inside the Ropes where he talks about the match, and fucking Shawn is so fucking funny. He's just like, I mean, I was just selling the way that I used to sell in the 90s when I was a heel. That's just all I was doing. But I guess people made a big deal about it. I guess I'm not that good of a heel anymore. That's how I kind of took it. It's just like way to steer around the fucking question. He was like, I just tried to work that match the best I could. It was just that Hogan kept on changing it up. It would change up week to week. Like every week, if we would have another finish, another thing done. And so I just tried to wrestle that match as best as I could. Given the change.
Let's face facts, bro. Let's face facts. I don't care who you think Hogan is. Michaels would wrestle circles around that man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, that was his whole point. That was his whole point of overselling and just looking ridiculous. Is that I can't believe after all this time, fucking Vince is making me lose to fucking Hogan.
Nah, but you know what? one of the things I hate, and anybody can correct me, when Stone Cold refused to put Hogan over,
Yeah.
and Vince made him fight Scott Hall. I thought that shit was a piece of shit. That was a fucked up move, man.
Yeah. Good for Stone Cold, because he knew what would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
He knew what would have happened. He saw the fucking backstage politics, and fucking, that's the thing. If you're going to talk backstage politics, Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, and Hulk Hogan, and Paul Heyman. They're like, and The Rock. Those are like the top 5 of like backstage politics. And fucking playing them, especially against Vince. I don't want to wrestle that motherfucker. He's gonna try to beat me.
Meanwhile, predetermined.
Nah, but you know who didn't play that shit neither? The Undertaker. He didn't play that shit. He kept people alive.
He had control the locker room. So.
Oh yeah. Who can't control the locker room?
I said Undertaker had control of the locker room, so he wasn't.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. He kept people in line.
Oh,
he kept people in line, man.
Oh, that's another one. Is the Undertaker botch. That when Hogan tried to say that he broke his neck and that his neck was broken,
and
like right when he landed, he said, "Oh, you got me, brother. You got me. Call my wife. Call my kids."
That's really fucked up because the Undertaker felt bad until someone else was like watched the video and he saw that he didn't connect.
Yeah. And then he confronted him about it, and what did he say? He said, "Oh, it wasn't that my head landed; it was that your legs were too tight around my neck. I couldn't move my neck when you did that, and it put a spring in my neck."
Yeah, you ain't got to.
Meanwhile, he was wrestling again the next week.
Yeah, right?
And it's like, especially when you got someone like the Undertaker, who nothing but praises his praise of being the anti-politician backstage. You know, just doing things the right way. And to have Hogan try to put that shit on, it's so fucked up.
Yeah, he's crazy. Thing about his lies is they're also easily provable, like the Make-A-Wish kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how you gonna say you met with the Make-A-Wish kid?
Oh, the fake Make-A-Wish kid.
I don't want to mess the story up. I want, so I had to like quote it. So like, he said he personally invited a Make-A-Wish kid to come see him at SummerSlam in '92. But then when he went out, the seat was empty. And someone told him he had died. And then he said,
so convenient.
I mean, you're so touched, you recorded a song about kids that was never there. And what was it? Like he said he recorded a song. Where's that song? You guys ever hear a song, Make-A-Wish kid song? I know he did record songs, but.
Oh no, he's him and Jimmy Hart apparently went back to their hotel that night and wrote 12 songs for him.
That no one has ever heard?
And we're getting ready to release an album. But they didn't.
I mean, like he said stuff like that, like, bro.
He's crazy.
That's like those kids like are close to death or just missed death by this much for diseases. Like, and you're lying about that? He's heartless.
Yep.
Never meet your heroes. Never meet your heroes.
That ain't my hero.
Yep. Yep. Not mine.
Oh, we got to talk about how he was playing bass for Metallica and the Rolling Stones. You guys heard those?
Oh yeah. Yeah. How he said that he was good buddies with Lars Ulrich from Metallica, and that because he was a session player, they offered him to play in Metallica, but they went with somebody else, and that he was a session player for the Rolling Stones at some point.
And Mick Jagger offered him that himself.
Wow.
And that Mick Jagger offered him a regular position.
Where's that tour footage?
Yeah. Where's the tour footage? of the most recorded band of all time, the Rolling Stones.
Oh, Jesus. It just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just my favorite ones was still 2 pages.
What was that?
I said I only put my favorite Hogan lies, but it's still 2 pages.
I think we're gonna have to film a part 2 to this.
If we
I say go for it. You gotta go to work, Gus. You gotta go to work.
Yeah, actually, I do. I'm looking at the time right now. So, guys, we'll catch up on Tuesday. For everybody watching, enjoy your weekend, and hate whoever you want to hate. That's what I love about wrestling. Love you, hate you, doesn't matter. Just have fun. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
All right.
See you, Gus. Now, me, you, and Willie, who he's just waiting for you to say something about Hogan so he can defend it.
Freddie Mercury died. Hogan said that he was asked to stand in for him for Live Aid. Jim Cornette has amazing videos, part 1 and 2. They're great. They have some great ones on there. That's where I got a lot of these from.
You really don't like Hogan. You really dislike that.
It's easy. Listen to all this shit.
No. You'll get up, right? You'll get up 5 in the morning texting about Hogan. I'm like, God damn, he lives rent free in your head? Like, God damn.
That's it, because it was on my mind. I also text about Smurfs and shit. I mean, I'm not really lucid. Like, start texting people at 3 and 4 in the morning and 5. So
over Hogan? And the group text over Hogan?
I texted my boyfriend a video of Donkey from Shrek singing this morning. God knows what you're gonna get from me in the morning.
You really despise that man. He owes you money? Like what? What's going on?
I don't like the fact that he's an obscene liar and he got the pass because
Listen.
Wouldn't you want to do that?
Listen. I lost all the respect in the world, right? I don't talk politics or anything, but when he said he wanted to body slam Kamala Harris, I thought that was too extreme. You know what I'm saying? Any guy that any guy that threatens to put a hand on a woman like that, and you say in a public forum, I got no respect for you whatsoever. Got no respect for that whatsoever. You know.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
again,
totally agree with you on that one.
And it's kind of crazy because a lot of wrestlers don't like Hogan, but again, people on the board is tight with Hogan, i.e. Dana White. So they're tough. They're in a tough situation. They're in a tough situation right now.
Well,
I think it's tight with them, but he still has contracts, connecting him to the company. You can't just cut contracts. That'll cost him more.
Who, Hogan?
Yeah, it would cost them more to cut the contracts and all the stuff he has with the company.
Oh,
yeah, I understand that, but they're in a tough situation.
That's the one thing. As far as I do know, they had taken down his Legends contract from what it originally was to something severe less after the 2015 tapes. Like they had taken him out of the Hall of Fame and everything until about 2018, and then he came back in with the NWO. And from there, I think they gave him a Legends contract, but it's like far less than what he had originally had for a Legends contract. And he was one of the first Legends contracts. Also, he was the last person to hold the actual WWF title.
Yeah. And he was the first WWE champion.
Yep.
Like, you know, we I think we made a list, but everybody knows who Vince's favorite wrestler of all time is. Everybody
Roman
knows
Reigns,
it's not no secret who it is.
I mean,
You
he
know,
never tried to make it a secret.
yeah, it's obvious who his favorite, favorite wrestlers is. You know, I think it's Hogan, then it's Cena, then it's anybody else that makes some money. Those is his favorite too. Hogan and Cena, his favorite too. Rock and Stone Cold is battling for third, and it's probably Shawn Michaels after that. So
Mhm.
I think Shawn Michaels
that's just
was
my
number
opinion.
one for a little bit of time. When Hogan was at WCW for him, he got
Yeah,
kicked
he
out
was.
of it.
He was the face. He was the face. But remember, they Vince had a trouble finding a face after Hogan. Because remember, they was trying to give it to Lex Luger. He
Yeah,
was the narcissist.
that
That shit
debacle.
didn't work out.
Yeah, that
You know, you
debacle.
try to give the Bret Hart. I mean, you know, everybody know who Vince's favorite wrestler is of all time. It ain't no secret.
Yeah. You
It
know
ain't no
what?
secret at all.
Honestly, one great thing that I find awesome is that Hogan never tried to do shit to Sting. I thought that was really cool. Although they did clash a couple of times, but it was never long. There's no longevity to it. All the wrestler he's clashed with over the years, he's never clashed with Sting, which I think is awesome, impressive.
Yeah, I mean, Sting had that locker room on lock though. I mean, Sting is WCW. So, Hogan was a new kid on the block. It's just, like you said, the backstage politics put him over. You know, it's
But
kind of,
they were different. They were in two different lanes in the same company, I think,
it's kind of like, it's kind of like the WNBA, right? You know, we had all these great accomplishments for all these players. Now all of something, we're gonna push everybody down, and Caitlin Clark all of a sudden is the face. You know, so it's just
Mm-hmm.
one of them things. Somebody that never won a championship or anything, we just gonna make her the face of the league. Forget everybody else's accomplishments. You know, so that's all that is. It's
According to
about
Sting,
who's about.
also put him over in Dark 7.
Yeah, one match that I would actually like to try to find full footage of is Hogan and Antonio Inoki in 1983, and he beat Inoki,
Right.
which Antonio Inoki, that's a guy that we'd have to probably dedicate like a lot of an episode to if we were to talk about. That man is like is what legends are built off of.
Here, I can
Right.
send you video of the match.
Of what, Hogan and Inoki?
Yeah, 6'2", 83, 34 minutes and 55 seconds.
Is it on YouTube?
Yes, I think this is YouTube. Yes, this is YouTube. No, it's not. It's on Facebook
Oh,
under Code Breaker Pro Wrestling.
word. Yeah, I'll have to check out that. Because yeah, Antonio Inoki, Antonio Inoki's like the guy Vince McMahon wishes that he could have been.
He really, really, really is. So I sent you the match.
Oh, yeah. Dope. So I know what I'm doing after the podcast.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Anyway, after the podcast. So, anyone else have anything to say? I'm glad no one said anything crazy. I want everyone to remember disclaimer: everything we say is our opinions. We make a lot of stuff up in our head. It's not coming from anyone else, especially any professional people like TKO or WWE or anything else. They're their affiliates, and we take all responsibility for what we say. But these things we have read, and we can accredit them with videos and pictures from other people. Jim Cornette actually said everything I said in his video. Hogan's Lies.
Woo!
So you go look up there. Trust him. So there that.
Thanks for that disclaimer.
Yeah, I mean I have to do it a couple of times because you never know who's
We
loyal.
talk some shit. Come to Weed and Wrestling, where we talk some shit.
I think this has been one of the funnest panels we've done so far because we have never just talked shit about people like this.
Yeah, this was different because we, yeah. But I felt it needed to get out of the way. That way we just all know now. You know, just our levels of ideas of Hogan. We realize he is a staple. Without him, wrestling would not be what it is. But he's also a filthy racist liar.
I'm just reading about apparently the Undertaker's having really bad heart problems.
Is he?
Yeah. Hold on.
That's no bueno.
Oh, okay. He underwent heart surgery. Okay. Oh my God, he underwent heart surgery the morning after WrestleMania 41. He still has heart problems from that. This information is coming from Ringside News, but he revealed experienced serious heart attack 5 hours ago in an interview. Suffered a ruptured bicep nerve and had a heart attack the day after WrestleMania 41, and he's still having issues about that. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna post this interview on the Weed and Wrestling Facebook page.
Okay.
So that's really, really heavy. Wish him all the luck. I'm glad that he stepped away from wrestling because some people still push it, and that's no go.
Yeah, they read something about Shane. He's trying to get back involved.
Yeah, apparently, I know he was talking about he was talking to AEW there for a bit, and that didn't follow through. I mean, I always liked Shane, and he was the only one that, like, back in the day was like calling out his dad on his shit. That's why he left the company originally in the first place.
Yeah.
Was because of his dad's bullshit. But now he seems to be chummy with dad again. So,
I mean,
I think I read something. They said Vince is trying to get tight with the Saudis to get an offer to buy back WWE. So that's going to be interesting if that happens.
Oh, that's not gonna happen. They're
Yeah.
Too much money to be made. They just bought the fucking thing. They just signed a 10-year, $10 billion deal with Netflix. Like, they're not about to sell it back to Vince. Vince.
The company, Saudis, because they got that money. You never know. Money talks.
Yeah, money does talk, and Vince is worth $10 billion now. That's what they bought. That's what they bought him. That's what they bought him for. And that's not enough to get back the company, unless he brought in other investors from the outside to get to get the shares all up underneath him again, so he's in full control.
That's why he said
still a publicly traded company. And he sold off his shares to the fucking Rock, and I'm sure the Rock isn't about to give that shit up.
He's like, "This is my town, bitch."
Yeah. Know your role and shut your mouth. Now Vince had opened up a company called 14th and I, which they're an acquisition firm for entertainment and sports and stuff like that. So he could put together a group that could act as like maybe a merger or something into that to where he could buy back some of his shares, maybe. But fully outright owning it again, it's a publicly traded company. You wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't have enough money.
You just have to get the over 51% of stocks worth back to own the company.
Yeah, which he has like 5%, I think.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
you never
that's
know.
true.
He's in everybody's ear and everybody's pockets. I mean, his wife is the Secretary of Education Department for his country now, you know? So.
Yeah, that she's trying to dismantle.
That's her job. That's the job she was given by the administration.
Yeah.
She just wants some kind of like power. That's her problem.
Yeah, she really. I've been watching all of her. Like, she really doesn't know what the fuck's going on. They really just put her there. It was like, do this. Because like there'll be something that she did, and she was like, "That's what the administration told me to do." And they're like, "You know it's illegal," and she's like, "I'm following what the administration told me to do, girl." Sit you up, take a film. I can't wait to watch it.
Hey, they shut down Job Corps, so fuck them.
Yeah.
I went to Job Corps. I love Job Corps. That program helped out tons of fucking people. That was ran by the Department of Labor, so that was a fucking Doge cut.
It was closed by Department of Labor. Yeah, it was a Doge cut, and it was agreed upon by Department of Education and Department of Labor. So they get funding from both of them. I read about it. Maybe we talked about it. It's ridiculous, but you know, where the American people at?
Makes me
she got her money in the pot. She got her money in the pot.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's people taking over. And Trump gave all his homies jobs. People don't know what they're doing. Like one of them, what did she say the other day? Something about like, habeas corpus. She was like, "What is habeas corpus?" Basically said whatever the president says it is. And I'm just like, how do you? So that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Woo! It's like the era. But more like the Hunger Games for children.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that.
And I feel bad. My daughter's in private school, so like I really don't deal with these issues. But like parents should be aware, and like most parents are just, it'll be fine. It'll not be fine. It'll not be fine. I don't know what's wrong with y'all. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. What world we live in? I try to stay away from politics on this podcast because
it is just fun talking on the podcast. But we have kind of said goodbye like 3 times.
Well, I mean, this was fun. If you have anything
I have
else
a lot.
to say.
Fuck
No
Hogan.
one on this is Hogan. Just want to put that out there. We just all understand that the way he has acted for years is not acceptable to any of our views and any of normal society. So that's all we're discussing. We're not discussing anything hateful, nothing slanderous, nothing detrimental towards Hulk Hogan or Terry Bollea. Nay.
I hate him.
I mean, again, like, I don't hate anybody. I just think like if you should
leg drop's the lamest fucking finisher in all of wrestling.
The leg drop.
It's a fucking leg drop.
No, you heard the story that he gave?
What?
He said he gets a good pop from Japan. That's why he kept it.
the lies.
That's what he said.
Listen,
I've never been to Japan, so I don't know if he could be lying or not. I don't know.
You can
he
watch
said he got a good pop with it. That's what he said.
And you know that.
What happened?
I said you can watch any tape for any Japan promotional, and you'll know he's lying. They're fucking setting each other's arms on fire for fun. A leg drop's getting a pop.
I think Jim Cornette had said it best. You can tell that he's lying from the moment that he opens his goddamn mouth.
I love him so much. I love it. Supernatural as fuck. I love how he has videos of his lies with like a backup of a guy that heard some of the lies, just like in the background. Like, you remember when he said that? Yeah, I remember when he said that. It's sad,
400
but
days.
I really think that we shouldn't like he shouldn't be at this point. We shouldn't be talking about him like this. He should just be a legend, and that should be it, you know. But now we gotta talk about him lying and being racist because he's a lying racist. And we didn't even talk about how his daughter doesn't
Hogan.
like him because he's a lying racist. She doesn't
And
have
his
babies.
wife.
Yeah, she ate some bull. But she was like, she said it, the quiet power out loud. She was like, my mother supported everything my father did. And she was like, and she's lying. She has met the baby. So I don't know why she's telling people she hasn't. So it seems to me him and his wife may belong together. They might want to rekindle that flame because, hello, birds of a feather.
Birds of latex.
Or someone cut off her alcohol supply. She'd definitely be drunk posting. And yeah.
She's a very ugly crier. When you show me, that's all I could think. I couldn't even understand what she was saying half of what she was doing. I was just like, God, you're ugly when you cry.
I mean, I don't think anyone necessarily pretty when they cry, but I think she was ugly because she fucking had
There's some pretty criers out there. All right.
Oh,
There's some pretty criers. Scarlett Johansson, come on. She'll win an Academy Award for it.
Great actress. That's an actress. I've never seen her cry in real life.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to make her cry in real life. I was just saying she had a hideous look to her. Mascara and everything while crying.
It looked more like she was drunk and like alcohol was coming out.
Yeah. Her face was blown up.
Yeah, like get her some water and cut off the salt, please. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know. Again, I think they should be together, like birds of a feather. She's lying on camera. He's lying in real life. You know.
They're perfect.
Definitely not. I really wanted her to come out and be like, "I did sleep with Miss Elizabeth." I really wanted that. I really wanted her to say that on the video. I was waiting for it.
You think he did?
I don't care if he did or not. I just wanted to say it out loud.
No, I'm just asking the question. You think he did?
Something during that time, I think all of them were just doing drugs. And I think all that was just side effects of drugs. Like she was sneaking and doing drugs with him. Randy Savage obviously had mental issues. Like, you know, he controlled people that he used to stalk Gorgeous George, a whole bunch of shit. He was nuts too.
Oh, when Randy was in TNA, he was tripping on Molly all the time.
Fucking time. They should have never gave him drugs. I don't know why he go from coke to Molly.
Oh shit. Yeah. Not your man.
To get together. But yeah, I just want
man.
Could you imagine? Imagine if she came out and was like, and he fucked Miss Elizabeth. The wrestling world go fucking collectively insane. That's all I want to see.
Yes, yeah.
I like chaos.
Absolutely. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Yes, that's the chaos was done for me.
I've had a blast.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you all. Like, share, subscribe.
And tune into our next podcast, where it will be the second golden age and the wrestlers we love from it.
Woo!
Bye,
Oh boy.
everybody. Good night.
Good night.